Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Philipp Halfmann, and today I'll talk about sports nutrition and how it can impact your performance on the court, because what you put in your body can affect your performance, and you should be confident in the decisions you make. For example, did you know that you actually have to eat more if you want to decrease your body fat percentage? No? Then stay with me and find out what kind of diet is best for you, when you should eat before a match, what your diet should provide, and why athletes need to eat more. Now, what you should eat and drink depends to a large extent on what you believe in. For example, are you a vegan or do you rather enjoy a juicy burger? Reality is that you can basically find anything in the world of supplements that suits your personal beliefs or lifestyle choices. And of course, all that stuff is awesome. I'm not going to tell you what you should be eating in particular, nor am I endorsing any supplements. Yet I'm going to provide you with some information and general recommendation in the hope that you'll be able to make better nutrition choices. Broad consensus is that a high carbohydrate, low-fat diet can be very beneficial for you, since such a diet will provide you with enough energy to perform well on the court. Now, the majority of the carbs should be in the form of complex carbohydrates, because that way your body can get steady fuel supply for a long period of time. So green veggies are great, and stay away from sodas or fried foods. You have the option to pick foods based on the glycemic index, GI, which classifies foods according to their potential to raise blood glucose levels on a scale from 0 to 100. Foods with a high GI enter the bloodstream as glucose rapidly, whereas foods with a low GI take longer. A GI of 0 to 49 is low, 50 to 70 is medium, and 71 to 100 is considered high. For more information and to search for the glycemic index of certain foods, check out the University of Sydney website at glycemicindex.com. Okay, if you pick foods based on the GI, it is recommended that athletes take foods that have a medium GI, so 50 to a 70, at least 1 hour before they walk onto the court, so that the nutrients are available when the body needs them. Should you get very nervous before your matches, then you might want to extend that period and ensure that you eat at least 90 minutes prior to match play, since digestion slows down as well. Of course, this is an ideal scenario. Sometimes you don't have enough time in between matches, or it can be challenging to find the right foods depending on when you want to eat and where you are in the world. If foods with a high GI, meaning 71 to 100, are consumed within 1 hour, it can cause an insulin surge, which, if present at the onset of exercise, may cause a rapid decline in blood glucose levels and early fatigue, which will cause a decrease in performance. If you take your career seriously and want to perform your best during tournaments, then you must have a practical daily eating plan that emphasizes on providing fuel for your physical activity, repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue after competition, optimizing athletic performance during competition, and promoting overall health and wellness. Bear in mind that the best sports nutrition plan doesn't mean anything if it's not practical. So take a look at where you can buy good quality groceries, know your budget, and start preparing your own foods. If you're completely new to nutrition, then try out a sports nutrition plan from a registered dietitian in your area that is tailored specifically to your sports nutrition needs. If you prefer learning more and want to do it on your own, then I could recommend you take a look at Chapter 8 of Advanced Concepts of Strength and Conditioning for Tennis. Your diet should provide enough energy so you can perform well on the tennis court from a physical standpoint. Yet many tennis players take in fewer calories than they need due to different reasons, vanity for one, which can negatively impact their performance because they don't have enough fuel in the tank. Yes, fat is dead weight, but it's not necessarily preventing you from winning matches. There are other factors that may be more important, such as dynamic stability. Now, some athletes even lose weight throughout the season, which should never happen, and here's why. When you lose weight, then you also decrease the amount of fuel that you have available, since your glycogen stores decrease as well as muscle mass. It's not unheard of that athletes restrict carbohydrate intake or even starve. Yet, if you don't consume enough carbohydrates, then your body starts using muscle protein, meaning branched-chain amino acids, to replenish glycogen stores, which is not what we want here. We don't want to lose muscle mass. After a tough match or practice session, you step off the tennis court and your energy reserves are depleted, which means your muscle and liver glycogen stores are low. Muscle glycogen stores deplete before your liver, which is your gas tank, provides as much glucose as it has. Once the liver runs out of glucose reserves, the body will choose to break down muscle protein instead of allowing blood glucose levels to drop too low. If the body wouldn't find an ultimate fuel source, then ultimately glucose wouldn't be available and you would fall into a coma because your brain runs on glucose. So in order to supply the body with necessary nutrients, it is recommended to drink a mixture of carbohydrate and a bit of protein within 30 minutes after training or per competition. The carbs-protein ratio should be 2:1 or 3:1. The carbohydrate and protein mix, for example, most chocolate milk works, aids in the repairing and rebuilding process of muscle tissue, preventing some muscle loss, and reducing the delayed onset of muscle soreness by reducing the amount of protein degradation. How important nutrition can be in optimizing your performance on the tennis court becomes more evident in endurance events like the Tour de France, approximately a 250-hour bicycle race. In the 1990s, the Tour de France was decided within seconds. Wouldn't you think that during a race that long, proper nutrition plays an important role? The same concept holds true when you want to win tournaments, since you have matches going on every other day and you need to win a few in a row a few times a year if you want to make a living playing tennis. Now, Lance Armstrong's teams allegedly spend $12 million annually for his training and doping, analyzing everything, even his urine, during different stages of the race, just to determine his absorption rate of various nutrients. It is important to understand that the nutrition needs of the general population, for example your parents, and elite athletes are different. In the general population, the relationship between body fat percentage and the amount of calories consumed is linear, meaning body fat percentage goes up the more calories I consume. But with elite athletes, that relationship is the opposite. The more calories they took in, the less body fat they had, and the less calories they took in, the more body fat they had. Why? This can occur because when elite athletes don't consume enough calories, their muscles are wasting in between bouts of exercise, which results in their body fat percentage to increase because they are losing lean mass. So it wasn't that the athletes were gaining fat, they were losing muscle. Those athletes that took in more calories were able to preserve muscle mass and have a lower body fat percentage.
you.